everybody.
Hello. Welcome back to the channel.
It's Raina.
And Drew. I'm Drew.
Yes, you are Drew. I'm Drew. It's Raina and Drew instant movie reviews, and we have been friends for how long?
Like 20 years now?
20 years. And if you are new to our channel, our whole shtick is that we review films as soon as we get out of the movie theater. So we always like to do a little preamble before we go in, just to say what our expectations may be, what we know about the trailer. We go see the movie, and then you get our instant reactions. And what are we going to instantly react to today, Drew?
So we're having a bit of a full circle moment. We started the channel back in February, I think it was, with the movie based on Stephen King's short story, The Monkey. And we are doing another Stephen King short story. And again, I brought props because that's what I do. We are seeing Stephen King's short story from If It Bleeds called The Life of Chuck. And it's a different kind of story for Stephen King. It's not a horror story. There are no vampires. Nobody is going to be exploded by a shotgun in a closet or anything like that. This is a pretty emotionally moving drama with some sci-fi elements. I've only read it the once. I thought it was one of the best things I've ever read of his when I first read it. And I reread a couple of passages today just to reorient myself to it. And I won't lie, it made me cry again, just reading parts of this short story.
Is this Mike Flanagan?
It is Mike Flanagan, yeah.
I love everything Mike Flanagan does, and I will watch something specifically because it's him. I think there's only ever been one thing he's made that I didn't like, which was like the Midnight Society or something.
Midnight Mass?
No, Midnight Mass I loved. This was a different one with kids. So I've loved everything.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking.
I feel like this is a really good pairing. My understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the kind of take I'm getting from the trailer is this is more leaning into the films / stories like The Stand By Me, The Shawshank Redemption, like those kind of things. And Stephen King is having a year. This is coming out, and locally The Institute was filmed here, which is another one of his books.
I actually haven't read that yet. I own it, but I haven't had a chance to read it
yet.
Yeah,
I'm about halfway through it, and if the show is as good as the book, it's going to be a really good show, and I'm biased because some of my friends are in the show, so I'm hoping it'll do well. What is your impression from... So based on the trailer, and this is something we talked about before with the monkey, what's your impression on how are they going to make this story, do you think, fill out an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Well, the short story is only about 60 pages long, and it's told in 3 parts, and it's sort of in reverse chronological order. So it kind of begins with the end and then works itself sort of back in time. And I hear that the movie also tells the story kind of in reverse.
Okay.
But... the first part and the third parts stand out to me as having the most that happened in it. The second part, as I recall, was kind of brief and not a whole lot happens in it. But based on what I've seen in the trailer and from what I can remember, the images and scenes in the trailer seem to be heavily Act 2.
Okay.
So I have a feeling they're going to expand on the Act 2 portion of it, which will also give Tom Hiddleston some hopefully juicy, dramatic moments to chew on.
I really enjoy him. He's a very, very versatile actor. Don't just stick him in a corner with Loki. I mean, he is a phenomenal Loki, but man has got acting chops. I've loved him in everything I've seen. He's done horror as well. Like, I loved him in Crimson Peak. So that's good. Who else is in it?
Chiwetel Ejiofor. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sara is in it. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, and the Joker himself.
Mark Hamill did the other Mike Flanagan show about the Raven and Edgar Allan Poe, Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, yes. Another one I haven't seen. I'm terrible when it comes to watching TV shows. I'm like a movie guy.
He's a movie guy. He was really good in that, and I've really liked his roles that he's done. And, of course, he's the voice of the Joker in the animated series, which I love. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm a little nervous that it's going to really pull on my heartstrings. And I've been like a little emotional lately just from being overtired and being a mom. So I'm a little worried that it's going to make me bawl. So,
well, it got me today sitting in broad daylight in my chair in my living room, just reading a couple passages of it. I was just like, this is going to really, if they do it properly, it could be one of the best dramas that I've seen in a while.
There is a lot of buzz around it. I did read that it did the circuit for film festivals.
Yeah, it won the Toronto International Film Festival, I think, like audience award. It didn't do a ton of money at the box office when it opened this past weekend, but it opened against How to Train Your Dragon's remake, and I just feel like that kind of movie is going to completely swallow something like this, which is more of an adult drama. But I still have sort of high hopes that maybe it'll stick around when people are talking about award season. I'm getting ahead of myself. We don't even know if this is good yet. The critics are liking it, but maybe we won't.
The buzz around it is quite good. So I don't know. I think I'm ready to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
You ready? Let's go.
We might look a little bleary-eyed and emotionally raw.
That's why I brought the sunglasses, so I can just come out and cover up my shame while I cry.
I don't know why, but something about those sunglasses kind of remind me of Art the Clown from the Terrifier films. He does a lot of things with like goofy glasses.
Well, when I met you because of our mutual friend Ben, I had met Ben because he bought me a pair of heart glasses. And that's how Ben and I became friends.
Oh my God, you're heart eyes.
I'm heart eyes. All right, we're going to go to the movies. We'll let you know what we think real soon.
See you in a minute.
Well, Drew, was it everything you hoped for?
It was exactly what I wanted from an adaptation of that particular short story, yes.
I can imagine, even though I didn't read the book, that this was a very satisfying film. Because I found it extremely satisfying, even though I didn't read the book. And it felt like a love letter to a book. Like, that's what it felt like to me. So without spoiling, just kind of give the audience a little bit of an idea of what they're getting into with this, because they might get thrown for a loop in the beginning.
So The Life of Chuck is about sort of the life story of this Chuck Krantz guy, and it's told in reverse chronological order. So it opens with Act 3 and then goes into Act 2 and Act 1. And Act 3 the whole thing was very true to the short story. And I remember reading the short story for the first time. That first act is very apocalyptic. It kind of feels like classic Stephen King. This could be a horror story. Like, there's some really unnerving, really bad stuff happening in the world. And this through line of who is this Chuck guy and why are there all these billboards and why are people mentioning him? And this movie captures that apocalyptic, eerie, frankly, a little scary feel for the opening.
Going into it, I didn't think there was any kind of horror at all. And then you had mentioned that there was like a little bit of a supernatural element. And it's not supernatural once you get to the whole movie and you understand what's happening. But it feels very supernatural and horror-esque. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm prepared for this. I found really interesting kind of two parts is he published that during COVID. And even if he wrote it prior to COVID, it's quite timely. And then also it's become even more timely just to what's going on with world events. And I'm seeing this trend with a lot of media where stuff from a few years ago is a little too eerily predicting what's happening right now and unfolding in our world. So I personally found it just a little bit triggering going into that. I was like, oh, okay, I don't know if I want this kind of a movie right now with everything going on in my life. But I have to say, if it throws you for a loop in the beginning, just stick with it because it's a very beautiful, profound film. It's hard to describe it without spoiling it, but would you compare it to other movies in terms of like...
It's got a little bit of an Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind feel to it. A little bit of It's a Wonderful Life. Trying to think of what
That's
else.
Really accurate. I think
feel like those are the two that are coming to mind right now.
Yeah, and it also was, to me, very quick. I remember when we get to Act 1, which is technically the third piece of media that you're consuming through this film. And when you get to the third arc, which is Act 1, I looked at my watch and I was like, oh my God, like, are we there already? And it's not a fast movie, but it's perfectly paced and timed. There's no dragging this out. There's no fluff. And I asked you, did they like put much filler in with the book?
Yeah, and I don't remember anything. Like, the thing that impressed me is, as I said in the intro, I reread portions of it, not the whole thing, but portions of it. And there are entire sections that are word for word the dialogue. There's a narrator in the film that essentially reads portions of the short story, and if that's
a perfect narrator. I won't spoil who. When you go to see it, you'll be like, oh yes, this is perfect.
Yeah. And it was also the way that actor did the narration. This is going to be a bit of a deep cut, but did you ever play the PC game The Stanley Parable?
Yes.
The narrator of this kind of sounded a little bit similar in like the dry kind of comical way that in some parts that he was narrating, which of course makes sense for who the actor was.
Yeah.
But again, like that opening act 3, that's so confusing to talk about this. The opening of the movie. That's not going to be the mood the entire way through, and there is a tonal change going into Act 2.
Yeah.
That is just a complete 180 from the mood of what we had just seen, but still quite profound and still very engaging for what is a very, very simple part of the narrative. Like, not a lot happens in Act 2, but it's incredibly important.
Yeah, and Stephen King was an executive producer on this, and I think he probably did have a good hand in making sure his artistic vision was seen through for the film. But Mike Flanagan is so good. He's just so good. I mentioned in our last video that I rolled my eyes at the idea of another Carrie movie, another Exorcist movie, but then it's like, oh, but it's Mike Flanagan, so I might actually like it. And he brought along his troupe of cast, who I love. His wife was in it, and many of the faces from The Haunting of Hill House and The Fall of the House of Usher, like all of his series. And then a few people who surprised me. Matthew Lillard was in it.
Matthew Lillard was in it for a little scene, and he got to do a little bit of serious acting in that scene.
His monologue in the scene was really moving. Yeah. Like, that's part of
that was the first tear-up moment for me.
For me, too. And it's part of what set the tone
and it was so hard for me to be like, this is the guy who had the crazy ranting monologue at the end of Scream. I can't wait to see what he does in Scream 7.
So my favorite role he's ever done was SLC Punk. And have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that is a tearjerker. Yeah. It's just all about him being a punk and like in this nonconformist anarchist lifestyle and losing a friend to a drug overdose. And it's like, really, like, I cried through that whole film. And it's also one of those roles where he's dual, like, he's funny. He's funny, but he's very serious in parts, and it gets you. Like, it stayed with me for my. I saw it in high school, and it stayed with me. Right, this is one of those films that's going to stay with you.
Yeah. Who else stood out in the cast for you? I know who stands out for me, but I'm interested to see if you say the same people or different people.
Well, I can't quite recall all the actors and actresses' names. Karen Gilligan at the beginning had a really good little bit of a speech there. I'm trying not to spoil things also.
This is such a hard movie to talk about without spoiling, by the way.
Mark Hamill was fantastic. I mean, I'm just going to level with you. I thought every single person on it was great, and the child actors were phenomenal. Did you remember the young boy's name?
So you get to spend a little bit of time in Act 1 with Chuck when he's in middle school / high school. I think he's supposed to be 11 or 12. And the actor's name I just looked up, it was Benjamin Pajak.
Yeah.
It's spelled similar to Pat Sajak, so I think that's how you pronounce it. And he was magnificent. The kid can dance, the kid can act. And he really makes you care about this kid.
I loved throughout the movie, and I think the trailer does a good job of capturing this. Moments mirror each other. And in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, you see Chuck kind of doing a dance move and it flashes back to his grandmother doing that dance move. In the film, they're not actually showing you things side by side. You're piecing it together yourself. So the trailer kind of did that on purpose, like did the dance move. But lots of those little Easter eggs, which I really delighted in catching throughout the film. And also, I just think it's just the mark of a very creative film. But I feel like this is just, it's a piece of art. And I said to Drew, I'm really loving this year. It feels like filmmakers are really stepping up their game, and even movies that I expect to be kind of B movies are still really good B movies,
Yeah.
right?
I
Like,
mean, even Until Dawn tried something, even if it didn't work. I haven't seen anything this year that I was like, that was just a complete lazy waste of time that had absolutely nothing to say or do. Like, even the stuff that we didn't love, like Wolfman, still tried different
I mean,
things.
Wolfman still had a scene in it that I thought was chilling, even though I wasn't a huge fan of that. And
Yeah.
we didn't review that for our channel. That was before we started our reviews, and I was very disappointed in that film, but it still had like a really chilling, and that's just it. Like, even stuff that I don't like, I can still be like, well, you know, they really tried, like they did something. It's a bit whiplash to go from last week, say, seeing a horror movie bring her back, to this, and crying for different reasons between those films. But this is one of those ones that I want to watch it again really soon. Now, I think it's one of those films that the second viewing is almost a different experience because you actually know all the pieces.
Yeah, I had already read the short story, so I'm sure my experience of that, like during certain portions of the movie, I was thinking, what's going through Raina's mind right now? What is she expecting this is all leading to?
Yeah.
And it does lead up to basically a perfect recreation of the ending of the short story. Which is one of the things I read earlier again that made me cry in my living room, and it made me cry in the movie theater again. So it's just a very powerful, wonderful little speech to end the movie.
Everyone in our viewing stayed through the credits for a bit, just quiet.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell that everybody was like in quiet contemplation.
Yeah, nobody fled.
Yeah. So given that you knew the source material and everything, how would you rate this?
It's up there. I'm going to give it a 9. And the only reason that it's not a 10 is I actually would have liked a little bit of expansion of a couple parts of it, particularly Act 2, I thought could have just used a little bit of expansion. There's one scene that's quite long, and it's quite lovely, but I would have maybe cut that scene down just a little bit, maybe added a little bit something with that portion of Chuck's life, because I still feel like we get a lot of his childhood, we get how it ends, we didn't get a lot in the middle, and I just would have liked a little bit more of that middle portion. So that's the only reason it's not a 10 for me, but it's a very, very positive 9 for me. What about you?
There's a reason Drew and I are best friends, because he's stealing the words out of my mouth. I was thinking about this coming into the theater. I was like, gosh, this would be a 10, except that I felt like Act 2 was a blink, and like, I thought it was a beautiful piece of art, and Act 2 on its own could have been a short film. Just that, without even all the context, could have been a beautiful short film. But it wasn't quite, but it was almost one run-on scene, and I would have liked to have seen more. Like, for instance, for Act 1, which is the end of the film, you do see like a lot of his life there. So yeah, I would have really liked a little bit more, and that's the only reason I'm not giving it a 10, but I don't have the source material to compare it to. But in terms of craft, it's like a 10. But it's just like, I just wanted a little bit more. But who knows? Like, it does kind of feel like they probably had to cut a bit for time or something. Like, I feel like it's one of those movies when it comes out to streaming, there might be extra scenes or something.
I'm not sure. I don't remember. Again, I've only actually read the short story once. I only read portions of it today. What I read today was very faithful to the movie we just watched. And it's only, as I said, a 60-ish page short story, so it's not, I don't think there was, if there was something cut, I don't remember it from my read of the short story.
Yeah, but they could have added filler and then decided to cut it, right? So it's hard to know. But Tom Hiddleston, I really like him, but I hate it when he does an American accent. Like, just, I don't know.
Yeah, I could tell he was British a couple of times.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I find that he's a very, very good actor, but I often find that when British people try to do American, they sound a bit wooden. And it's like, oh, you're such a good actor, dude. Like, I hate this for you, because I just feel like you're coming off. But they kept his dialogue relatively sparse in comparison to the other people portraying him throughout his life. So
it's interesting. Like, he's maybe the biggest name right now in it, and I feel like the focus was not really on the Tom Hiddleston portion.
No, not at all.
Of this character's
not
story.
At all. And I feel like he probably took this role because he wanted it. Like, he probably really liked the book or something. There's this dance scene, and you see it in the trailer. And it reminds me, he briefly dated Taylor Swift, and the only reason I know he briefly dated her is because there was this viral clip of him at some award show with her, and he's dancing like he's dancing in this movie. And so I felt, and it got turned to a meme, right? And so like I'm watching this movie, I'm like, it's the meme come to life. It's Tom Hiddleston dancing.
But you have to cast an actor who can dance to play this role. And shout out again to Benjamin Pajak, or however you pronounce that, because kid, you can really, really dance.
I mean, everybody who danced in it could really dance. Yeah. They could all really dance.
Sort of reminds me of how like Tom Holland started out in Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
And like he's an amazing dancer and then also became an amazing actor from there. I kind of feel like maybe this kid has a similar trajectory.
Yeah. So what have we got coming up?
So we are hoping to fit in Megan 2.0 soon. 28 Years Later is coming out soon, and we want to see that. We're not sure if we're going to have time to see How to Train Your Dragon together, but I am interested. It's doing very well. Anything else on the horizon that I haven't mentioned?
There's just, I think you and your partner are probably going to go see the Wicked film when that comes out.
Wicked
eventually.
for good. I can't wait.
Wait. I'd like to see the other Stephen King one coming out, The Long Walk.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Yeah. And we're hoping the new Glass Onion film does a theater run. I don't know if it will or not. We saw the first two in theater and they were really, really good.
Yeah. Glass Onion only got a very limited release and then they made it like a Netflix
I
film.
said Glass Onion film, but you know what I mean.
Wake Up Dead Man.
Wake Up Dead Man. Yeah, what was the first one called?
Knives Out.
Knives Out, Glass
Knives
Onion,
Out.
Wake Up Dead Man. Yeah.
They could have called Bring Her Back Knives Out. But anyway, that's a different review.
All right, folks, we appreciate your comments. This is a really good feel-good movie, so if you're getting kind of down from our reviews being like a string of depressing horror movies and stuff like this is a good pick-me-up.
Don't let Act 1 fool you. Yeah. This is a feel-good movie. It just doesn't seem like it at the beginning.
So let us know if you're going to see it, if you did see it, did you read the short story, do you like Stephen King adaptations, are you a fan of Mike Flanagan? This is all kind of stuff we enjoy hearing from you because it sort of informs us on good discussion points for future videos. Mm-hmm. And what can they do with our channel, Drew?
They can like, they can share, they can subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps us out.
Yeah.
But again, we're happy that people are watching these. Our Bring Her Back review is doing quite well. It's only been up for a couple of days. More views than I personally was expecting for it. So hopefully people like what we're doing and come back to watch more.
Oh, thanks everybody. And we'll see you at the movies.
We'll see you at the movies.